Alpine, Renault don't know how to succeed. Pretty strong statement that is, but that's basically what recently sacked Alpine team boss Otmar Szafnauer claims. The man with the surname a very few know how to pronounce told Sirius XM, and I quote, "I think the senior management at Renault, CEO Luca Di Meo, as everyone does in F1, wants success instantly, and unfortunately that's not how it works in F1. They wanted to do it faster than is possible, and I couldn't agree to an unrealistic timeline, because if you do that, it's only a matter of time and everyone gets frustrated. So I laid out a very realistic and possible plan, and I think they wanted to shortcut that plan with somebody else." End quote. Now, after the man called Otmar left Alpine, he also revealed that areas of the racing organization had a very elemental skill level due to a lack of experience. Tasked with filling that void, the Szaf started recruiting personnel, but all of them could obviously not join immediately, and some of them will still join the team only as late as 2025. And once more I quote a Grand Prix 247 article, with Szafnauer talking, "And they just didn't have that understanding. Either it was impatience or it was emotion, but definitely no understanding, and unfortunately that's what it takes and that's what they'll find." End quote. So the men of France are hungry for success, and that has eluded them since Alonso won them the title twice in the early 2000s. That's 20 odd years almost. Not a bad thing to be hungry for success. It is, however, a bad thing to be a smartass, and that is what it seems some of the big boys were being to Szafnauer. Hope it works out for them at Alpine. Binotto, by the way, is still favourite to replace Szafnauer. Williams may be facing $100 million lawsuit. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, my friend. That is an insane amount of money. That is, to be precise, 1,902,935,000 South African rands. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's almost 2 billion rand. That's enough to buy a few burgers at McDonald's, eh? But that amount is exactly what Williams may be being sued for by their own former marketing executive, Claudia Schwartz. What did Williams do to so very seriously tick off Madame Schwartz? Quoting an article on GrandPrix247.com, claims she has been forcefully pushed out of her job, while adding that the team attempted to tarnish her reputation with claims of fraud and adultery. End quote. Ouch! Reports claim that Williams leaked news of her alleged affair with Doralton Capital, who are of course Williams' owner, former CEO. She denies the affair and is apparently 100 mil worth of paid off by the rumor. Claudia the litigious was sacked by Williams, and they claim budget cuts was the reason. I think it's safe to assume that she does not agree with their claimed reason. Her lawyer was quoted as saying, and I quote, "This lawsuit will bring to light what we contend are false public statements made by Doralton and Williams about Schwartz and her company, that we believe have been done in a calculated effort to avoid both contractual obligations and to put pressure on Schwartz to stay quiet and not defend herself. They believed Schwartz would not fight back and defend herself, her companies and her reputation. She is fighting back." End quote. Not pleased with the lawsuit against them, Williams have decided to countersue for $6.9 million, and I quote that article again, accusing their former employee of abusing her position within the team to award contracts to suppliers with personal connections to her. The team also claimed Schwartz's husband, Axel Ludwig, is also involved in the alleged fraud scheme. Williams reportedly claimed that Schwartz had started the alleged affair with the Doralton CEO in a bid to lure the former Doralton executive to allow inaccurate and overinflated invoices and improper credit card charges. End quote. Sheesh! If Williams loses this case, they may be in some serious financial trouble. Headlines. Lewis to Ferrari? Yeah, I know you've heard this, and I don't think it's going to happen. But Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur has been quoted as saying about his friend Lewis Hamilton, and I quote, "I don't want to compare him to our drivers. That makes no sense, but a contribution from such a top driver is, of course, not only driving the car, but also technical, strategic and help for the engineers. In that regard, if you have access to Hamilton, a Max Verstappen, also a Leclerc, that's easier." End quote. Will Daniel Ricciardo keep the AlphaTauri drive for next season? Well, Helmut Marko was quoted as saying, and I quote, "The change has had a very positive effect in terms of mood and motivation in the AlphaTauri team. While the gap of De Vries was on average 3 to 5 tenths, Ricciardo, if you adjust for all that, is significantly less, if not on par with Tsunoda. With 9 races left. In those 9 races we will watch how it develops. Tsunoda had a very good race in Spa, maybe in the middle sector when it was raining a bit too much. Maybe he could have had a better result. Daniel was not far away from points in the sprint. This direction fits." End quote. Williams' focus for next season's car is already being fine-tuned according to Albon, and I quote, "That being said, I've started work on next year's car in April in the simulator and making sure we are changing the car's characteristics to try and mitigate some of these constant balance issues we've been having for the last 4 or 5 years. That's been a big focus for us next year." End quote. Playing out with some memes, I hope you enjoy them. There's no race again this weekend, but it's not a long time, and we will be having some good races again. I think Holland is up next, isn't it? Max's home race. So I hope you enjoy the time off, and I hope that your team does well next time we're out there. Thanks for watching. Please think about subscribing. God bless and goodbye.